Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, as the title of this video suggests, we are going to look through a massive pile of artwork that's going to be included in my upcoming studio sale. But before we do that, I feel like I can't record this video without first acknowledging how grateful I am for your response to the video that I posted last Friday, which I actually recorded like at least a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago now. It just took me such a long time to post it after recording because of how nervous I was about it. And it's been an interesting few days since then. I was not expecting the kind of response, the level of response from you all to the video that I posted. You guys all just shared, well, shouldn't say all, so many of you shared really heartbreaking and moving and hopeful and tragic and beautiful, just the whole range of the spectrum in responses to the video. Many of you were just encouraging me, which I appreciated so much. And then a number of you were really brave and vulnerable in sharing your own experiences and then encouraging each other, which was just really cool. And I felt really privileged to be able to have any part in that and to be able to see it happening. So thank you so much. I have responded, I've responded to a lot of the comments. I think I responded to everybody who commented on Friday when the video was published. I haven't gotten to all of them yet, but I have read every single comment and I've read all of the emails. And thank you so much for trusting me enough to tell me your story too. So we can keep talking about this. Absolutely, we can have other videos about it. We can do a Q&A. I'm always up for suggestions, you guys know. So you can let me know in the comments to this video, or you can send me an email or write something on my questions page or whatever. Okay. Yeah, it feels strange to follow that up with saying, let's look at a giant pile of artwork, but I guess that's what we're going to do. We're looking at a giant pile of artwork. So I'm going to switch to having this camera on my overhead tripod so I can just kind of flip through, and then I will tell you about some of the pieces. Some of these are going to be super old, like back from 2013 when I was very first drawing and painting again. And then it'll go up to like a few pieces from 2019. So mostly older stuff. And I will try to share a little bit about the background in the different pieces. And of course, I'll tell you guys about the studio sale and how I'm doing it. So let me switch to the other tripod. All right, here we go. Hopefully the exposure is okay and you guys can see and hear me. I also hope the volume is okay. Basically, I just hope this works. So I'm just going to kind of flip through and show you a bunch of different pieces and then talk about the sale as I'm doing it. So, okay, here we go. Here are the first few pieces. These are, relatively small ones. These were all actually done as spot illustrations for a magazine. I'm going to go in size order. So we're going to see a bunch of the smaller ones first. These are another couple of spot illustrations. These were for Milk Street. Those ones I just showed you were for Orange Coast. These are different types of chorizo. This one was a personal piece, well, self-initiated piece. It's just a little spot illustration portrait of Julia Child holding a giant fish. This was an older one. This was done, I don't know, probably 2013 or 2014. Just a self-initiated piece that I had put on Tumblr back when I was still doing that a lot. All right, another spot illustration. This one was for Milk Street as well, about rubbing salt into greens. Another Milk Street spot. A few more here. So I think I'll just start talking through how the studio sale came about. If you saw this illustration as well as the next few that I'm going to show you were all done for a video game, actually. Yes, if you saw the vlog I did, I guess it would have been 2 weeks ago now for you guys. I was sorting through all of my old portfolios, well, just not all of my old ones, all of my portfolios in general, and decided that I wanted to clear things out and find homes for a bunch of my originals. So a lot of these things I haven't gotten around to ever having in my shop or to selling, not because I was particularly trying to hoard them or anything, but just it takes actually quite a lot of work to list things and put them together and get them online and do the shipping and all of that. And having a shop has never been my biggest source of income. I mean, I've done it. I've had a shop, but it's just not something I've put a ton of effort into. These are all still video game illustrations. This is the last one from that batch. So yeah, I just decided that I wanted, well, basically like a bunch of people I know have been cleaning out their houses, my parents, Eric's parents. So I guess not that many people, but some people I know, oh my goodness. People I know have been cleaning out their houses, and I have always been somebody who, like, I tend to give stuff away a lot. We don't have a ton of stuff, and that's just how I like to live. But I hadn't really ever done that with my portfolio. And yeah, I started looking through and deciding I would just way rather have these pieces in someone's home, on the wall, being looked at, being appreciated, have somebody actually enjoy them instead of having them just sit in a portfolio and me plan on like maybe someday selling them. So I decided to just try to have a studio sale, and potentially, like, my dream would be for all of these pieces to find homes. But we'll see. I'm basically pricing things pretty aggressively, like the lowest I have ever sold originals for. And I'm not selling every original that I've done that way. But this is going to be close to 300 pieces altogether that'll be in the studio sale. And, yeah, like I said, I would love for them all to find homes. These pieces were both done, for a card for, why can't I think? Papyrus. Yeah, for Papyrus. A greeting card for Papyrus. And then we're on to some more spot illustrations here. This was one of the first spot illustrations I ever did. It was for Lucky Peach, which is no longer exists anymore, but it was a really cool food and art magazine. Here's another Lucky Peach illustration. So I think these are 2014 maybe, or maybe late 2013. I'd have to look. But yeah, definitely some of my earlier ones. These are some more spot illustrations for Real Simple magazine. This one is it was for an article about, what's it called? Aquaponics or hydroponics, but basically like you grow plants and then the drainage from the plants feeds the fish, and you use the water that the fish swim in to water the plants. And it's this kind of, I don't think it's quite a closed system, but it is supposedly, beneficial. So that's the first time and only time I've drawn anything like that. Look at how cute these little goldfish are. I don't know if that's focusing, but they're super cute. Is it focusing? I hope it's focusing. All right. Well, there'll be a picture of it in the actual studio sale, so you'll be able to see it there. More spot illustrations for Real Simple. This one was pizza with everything bagel topping on the crust. I came up with a format for the sale, which is basically that there's going to be every week in October, there'll be a new release on my website of 20 listings, and 10 will be for individual illustrations all by themselves. And then 10 will be for these kind of starter collections, which will have anywhere from 3 to 7 illustrations already ready to go in them. And the individuals are going to start at $50, and the collections will start at $150. This will be by far the lowest I've ever sold originals for. And you guys know I'm constantly talking about pricing with respect to commercial work and commercial clients. This one was for a commercial project. Actually, it was for candle packaging. Hold what was I saying? Yes. So I talk about pricing with respect to commercial clients, but, and like how important it is not to undercharge and all of that. But, as I said, this has not been my main way of making income. And so I am perfectly okay with charging less on these right now because I really just want these pieces to be enjoyed, to be on a wall, to be in someone's house rather than just in a portfolio. So if this was for a client, if I was doing a commission, if it was any sort of commercial purpose, I would not drop my rates. I don't do that. But since it's for, basically it's for me and it's for you guys, it's trying to find these pieces homes. I'm okay with having them at a much, much lower rate. So this will probably be the only time I do something like this. These are all portraits for, I think it was Thrillist who did this. This was an article or a feature rather on the like women who changed media or the year of the woman or, oh man, I forget what it was called. I think it was 2018, but there's a bunch of celebrity portraits. This is Greta Gerwig. And these ones are on kind of like more of an ivory paper. And then here, I'm going to show the other ones. This will be a collection, actually, one of the collections. And this is Gal Gadot. And then Selena Gomez and Cardi B. And Kate McKinnon and Issa Rae. And Elizabeth Moss. So those will all be in a set together, one of the collections that I mentioned. And then these are some spot illustrations for Vanity Fair France. These will also be in a set. Chocolate bar. Sugar. What's this called? I can't think of it, creme fraiche, but that's how you would say it in French, I guess. And then butter and pecans. This is still that same set, that same collection. And then the actual dessert itself. And then now it's going to be a few more self-initiated ones. Yes, so I'm getting so disoriented trying to explain these things and talk to you guys. This one this is like one of my favorite pieces, maybe. I don't know why I love this piece so much, but I decided to go ahead and sell it because, yeah, I want it to have a life, not just be stuck in a portfolio. Yes, so every Monday, so the first Monday will be October 5th, there will be the release of the 20 listings, the 10 individuals, and the 10 collections. And it's just going to be first come, first serve. Whoever gets there first can place the order. And yeah, that's the basic structure. And then the next Monday, there will be another release of 10 more individuals and 10 more collections. And the folks who are on my newsletter, who have signed up to my newsletter will get, the opportunity to access the sale one day early. So I will email on, Sunday. Yes. Sorry, it's noisy. I'll email on Sunday, with a link to the sale page. And then those folks will be able to have early access. These are all self-initiated pieces. This piece was part of a project that I did on Tumblr where people would send in pictures of their favorite foods and I would draw them. This was another part of that project, I think. Key lime pie. This was for a phase. I honestly wish I could do more about this, but it's really challenging. I'm very interested in like what a cross section of food would look like. And I like imagining what things would look like if they were cut in half, kind of like, you know, when a big cake is sliced in half and you see the center. I just find that really satisfying. And so I wanted to imagine doing that with other foods that you wouldn't typically slice in half. So this was my imagining of what an ice cream cone sliced in half would look like. But it's tough to find references for that. And to make it look really realistic the way that I like to is really challenging. Donut, this was another Drop My Food piece. These are some more illustrations for Lucky Peach. This one was about the pricing of heritage breeds of chickens. So there's little tiny price tags underneath each chicken. They don't say anything, but I really like this one. I think this is my first time doing birds. Ice cream sandwiches, cabbage. This was a portrait. I don't think I used a reference for this. I think I was just messing around. This was probably like 2015. Yeah, I don't remember what my goal even was for this. I think I just wanted to draw it. Cereal. Chocolate chip ice cream cone. When I was a kid, I would only eat the cake cones. I really hated the sugar cones. So I kind of still have a soft spot for them. This was done, the next couple pieces actually were done for Femsplain, which was a website, like a forum, and they would publish writing. This was a couple of years ago. It was done by Amber. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking of their old last name. What did they change their last name to? I'll have to remember it. But yes, this was done for them. It was a fundraiser that they did in a collaboration with different artists. So is this one. This is a kind of pretzel, a kind of German pretzel. Everybody else wants to have it like that, but actually it's supposed to go like that. Turnips. This is more from the phase when I was super interested in how things looked when they were cut in half or bit in half. This is a French macaron that's been bit in half. Hamburger, obviously. And these are some self-initiated spot illustrations that I did. At one point, I felt like I was getting really kind of pigeonholed into doing things that were hyper realistic. And so I wanted to show what a looser style would look like, especially for an editorial client that might not have like a really high budget. So I did these pieces. And then these pieces were part of that same series. These ones are even looser, actually. These are some of the loosest things that I have included in my portfolio. And I will still reference these if a client asks about what a looser style might look like. Ice cream sandwich. More macarons or macarons. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I don't know if it's probably unrealistic to hope that they'll all sell, but if you did watch the vlog where I was first talking about doing this, I also have an enormous burn pile. Probably like I don't know, 30 or 40% of what of stuff I had been hanging on to, stuff that I just feel like is truly terrible or really has no purpose beyond what it was made for commercially. So I think we'll see. But I think I'm going to also do a video like this with the burn pile where I show you guys the stuff that I'm planning on burning. And depending on my ability to organize it logistically, we may have like an adoption party after that. We'll see. Because my first priority, obviously, with any piece would be that somebody would be able to enjoy it, which is why I'm doing the studio sale right now. And also one other thing, I'm being so disorganized with this, but this is another Draw My Food project for Tumblr. And so is this, I think. Yeah, I think we have several of those coming up, actually. Yes, if they do all sell, if every piece in the sale finds a home, then I'm going to donate 25% of the proceeds to fire relief in California. I haven't chosen a charity yet, but I'm going to do some research and choose a really good charity. And I shouldn't just say California, but the West Coast. I'm from California and I still have family there. So the fires on the West Coast have really just been devastating in the last few years, and this is another terrible year. So yes, if all of these pieces find homes, I will be donating 25% of the proceeds to a nonprofit that supports fire relief. So I will hopefully have that picked out by the time this video is published, and it will be on the screen or in the description box. And also in the description box, this was another Draw My Food piece for Tumblr, hummus. Also in the description box will be a link to sign up for my newsletter, which you should totally do if you think you might want anything from the sale, so that you'll be able to have the early access. Right now, I'm going through like really not in any particular order besides size order. So some of these pieces will come out, will be published live in the sale on Monday, and then some of them will come out in subsequent weeks. But each Monday in October, there will be a new release of illustrations. Christmas cookies. I did actually, one of the collections I put together was I have several like holiday, not just Christmas, but Christmas and Easter and Valentine's Day themed foods. And I put them all together in a collection just because I thought that would be fun. This is some rows of bread. This is another one that I really like. And I feel like other people don't usually like this one very much, but I don't know, maybe there's somebody else out there who is like me, who appreciates it. I love the limited color palette and the different shapes. Pop-Tarts. This is my second Pop-Tart painting. Snow cone. This one actually was licensed. The prints of this were licensed to Uncommon Goods, and they still sell prints of it, but this will be the original. Ice cream sundae. More popsicles. I definitely had a popsicle phase. And I guess ice cream sandwiches. This is like the third ice cream sandwich piece we've seen. Didn't even realize that. All right. There are a couple of peanut butter and jelly originals that I did. This is one. Some candy, gummy bears. And here's another. This is the other PB&J. They're very similar looking, but yeah, I think I did, I don't remember which one I did first. I think I did this one first, and then I wanted a different composition, so I did this one, but then I actually ended up liking this one, so I kept both of them. But yeah, now hopefully there is somebody who likes peanut butter, or a couple of somebodies who like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. More candy. This was another Draw My Food piece. And this one was not for Draw My Food, but I do remember this one. I tried a different technique where I was trying to make it look kind of like in focus in the foreground and out of focus in the background, like it was a photo. I still really love this piece as well. Coconut. Another one from Draw My Food. Strudel, I think that's what that, almond strudel or streusel. Brie. This was the first time I painted cheese. This would have been probably early 2014. This is another older one. Toast and butter. This is Penelope's favorite food right now. This is another one that will go in the holiday collection. Passion fruit. I know for sure that this one is coming out on Monday. This one's going to be in the Monday release. Pink soft serve. Pink donut. This one is, I don't know if I actually have ever even published this online. I think I have. I made this one when I was obviously painting again, but this one was when I was trying to make art about being sick. And I did not feel like it was a successful piece. I still don't feel like I'm like really ready to make art about that. But yeah, this was my first attempt at trying to make art about the process of being sick and being undiagnosed and how I felt about that. This one is going to be in the sale as well. I felt really torn. I kind of just wanted to put it in the burn pile because it is so personal, but yeah, if it can go to someone and someone who appreciates it, then I guess that's better than being burned. Another grilled cheese, or maybe, yes, I did show some grilled cheese already. Yes, another grilled cheese. Glazed donut. This is another one that I really love, and it seems like a lot of other people don't usually appreciate this one as much. It's super textural, and I love how kind of loose it is, and I feel like it still looks really realistic. Plus, I just like glazed donuts. I'm one of those weird people that only likes glazed donuts. I like them, the plainer the better. Well, glazed donuts are cider donuts, but glazed donuts are more fun to paint because they're shiny. This is a, what do you call those things? Like a pie that's made not in a pan. Is it a galette, I think? Yes, this is a galette that I actually baked and then drew. This one was inspired by a bakery in California called the Pie Hole. That's like a whole place all devoted to pie. And if you haven't been around this channel that long, you might not know this, but I'm absolutely obsessed with pie. It's like my favorite food. So yes, I did this after visiting the Pie Hole a few years ago. This is another older piece. It's apricots. My grandmother had an apricot tree in her backyard and grew apricots and then would dry them. And it was something I would do with her and like a favorite snack. So I drew these in remembrance of that. Another piece of pie. Blueberry coffee cake. Berry cobbler in a Pyrex. Another pretzel. This is more like a standard pretzel. This was I drew this after a trip to New York to actually go to Tumblr headquarters. I went with my brother and sister and then drew this afterwards because we had soft pretzels while we were there. These are a few other figure paintings. I never felt like I really landed on a style with this. So these were some where I was just kind of messing around. Again, tempted to put them in the burn pile, but we'll see if they can find a home first. Some homemade jam. Butterfly. I was definitely intending to paint a monarch butterfly. This was after we had like stumbled onto a big meadow during the monarch migration, and it was absolutely beautiful. But I don't know enough about butterflies to know if I for sure got the anatomy right, but that was the aim. It's a scone from one of my favorite bakeries in Boston. More bakery themed stuff. And more pie. And this one is also inspired by the Pie Hole. They had a Mexican chocolate pie that was just unbelievable. I also really like this piece. I think it's coming through, but I love I like how the whipped cream looks in this piece. I like how it looks like kind of heavy and substantial and the texture of it. Eggs Benedict. This is where I was kind of trying to experiment some with pattern and color and never really stuck with it enough, I think, to develop a true style in that way. But yeah, this was a piece I did in like maybe 2015. Some grapes. Banana pudding, I think that's what this was. I think this might have been for Draw My Food. I don't remember for sure. Another freeform pie, galette. Ice cream sandwich. Savoy cabbage. This is my favorite kind of cabbage. And another pink donut. And another hamburger. I should have thought of more stuff to talk about, you guys. You're probably going to get so bored of me just flipping through all these. These are Rice Krispie treats. I feel like I need to tackle these ones again. I really wanted to, I remember wanting to draw these because they were like a very sentimental childhood thing for me. I haven't tried again since, but I should. Some squashes. I think this piece was maybe the first time I tried incorporating gouache. I used gouache in school, but then once I was starting to make stuff on my own again after getting sick, I was doing just mostly watercolor pencils and colored pencils. So this was, I believe, the first time I added some gouache on top. This is a sunny side up egg. This also has quite a bit of gouache on it. iPhone. This is one, I definitely shared this on Tumblr, but I don't know if it has ever been on Instagram, or a number of these never really like made their way around because I wasn't either like completely satisfied with them, or I didn't really know what their commercial purpose would be, like who would commission me to just like paint an iPhone. But yes, I did this at one point, and you already saw the iPad Nano that I had done. Some socks. I actually had this pair of socks. Banana cake. This is one of my earlier cakes. Several of these ones coming up actually are older pieces, like 2013, 2014. KitchenAid mixer. You can actually see in a lot of these older ones that I definitely had a different approach with color, and well, maybe not with color, more with value. I really would steer away from any darker values. Tended to go for pieces that were kind of consistently light throughout. I hope you guys can hear me okay. They're doing road construction outside and it's getting really loud. This was the first time I did pizza. Some of my favorite cookbooks. What do you call this in your family? In my family, we were very literal, so we just called it egg toast. But I've heard like egg in a hole, frog and toad, frog in a hole, toad in a hole. Yeah, let me know in the comments what your adorable creative names for this are. Since my family is so boring, I still just call it egg toast with Penelope. Another pumpkin pie. This one's a whole pumpkin pie, obviously. White acorn squash. Sushi. Donuts. This is another one that's definitely coming out in this Monday's release. Cookie dough. I think this one's coming out too. It's a part of a collection though. Egg. More Christmas cookies. Popcorn. And more Christmas cookies. Both of these Christmas cookie pieces will be in the holiday collection. I believe this was my first time doing chocolate cake, and I still really like this piece. I like how, again, the kind of weightiness of it, and I like how textural it feels. I hadn't really realized until recently, looking back at all my old stuff, how, it still does have a texture, but my older stuff had like super visible texture, and I definitely have gotten away from that some. These were some blueberry bars that I made. Vietnamese food. This was also for the Draw My Food project. So somebody had sent me this a picture of their favorite. I believe it was like vermicelli. I think that's rice vermicelli noodles and cucumber and some kind of spring roll, carrots, all that. My favorite part of this piece is this little picture. I still absolutely love it. Another Draw My Food piece. This is a cheesecake. This one was, I believe, from a culinary student who had made it. Another piece in the holiday collection, hot cross buns. Another Draw My Food piece. This was Peruvian food. I still don't, at one point I did know what all these were called, but it's been a while since I posted it, so I don't remember for sure what all these different foods are. I believe this one is ceviche. This one is, I forget what it's called, but some variation of corn. Wow, that is really loud. Iranian food. Dill pickles. Another one of my favorite pieces. tacos, hard-boiled eggs. I think that's how I intended the composition. Yeah, there we go. Papaya. Cupcakes. I think this one may come out on Monday too. This is another one that will go in the holiday collection. It's a king cake. My dad's side of the family had a lot of relatives in Louisiana, and so they used to always send us king's cake during Mardi Gras. And it's, if you haven't had it, it's like, this is just literal sugar that's on top. So it's super healthy. Bagel. I don't remember whether this is the first or second bagel that I ever did, but here's kind of what I'm talking about with the texture. Like, you see how intense those marks are. And I really like that. I think I need to try to get back to some of that, at least in some personal pieces. This is a pastry called a cannelle. And if you know what these are, they're like this big, they're tiny. So this is massive in scale. This one is different like smears of jam and toast toppings. These were all things that I had around the house. I think it was like pumpkin butter and apple butter, raspberry jam and blueberry jam. I don't remember what that one was, to be honest. Maybe it was apricot. Yeah, that would sound right. Another artisan bread. This was bread that I baked and then drew. Little orange cake. These are my favorite donuts that I have ever had ever. They're from a place called Lil's in Portland. Nope, not Portland. Kittery, Maine. And they're just like absolutely unbelievable. The texture's so good. I had them with my brother. This is their like plain glazed one. And this one was a raspberry glazed. And they were both to die for. Chocolate cake. No, chocolate brownies. Sorry. Asparagus. Key lime pie bar. Lemon cookies. These are from another, this is another one that's inspired by my favorite bakery in Boston. And another one that's inspired by them. This is like a top-down view of their sticky bun that has pecans on it. I've never actually tried one of these because I'm allergic to pecans, but I would love to try one. S'more. Oh boy, it's so loud. Sorry, guys. This one was inspired by Milk Bar. After I visited there with my brother and sister. Apple. The person in the studio down from me, trying to whisper this, but she does like coaching and life coaching and that sort of thing. And she's really enthusiastic about it. So she sometimes gets really loud and sometimes she swears too. So we'll see. Hopefully she stays a little quieter today. Hand pie. Cantaloupe. This one is the one and only time I have made something on Yupo paper. And it's actually like, I don't know if you can tell, it's like super heavyweight and it's like a plastic paper. And so this was alcohol markers, Copic and Prismacolor markers that I made this with. This is another piece that was unusual for me because I made it with marker. This was like a marker steady that I was planning on making a much larger piece based on. And then I guess I changed my mind because I never ended up making that piece, just have the steady. This is another pretty old one, 2013, I believe. This was inspired just by like rocks from the beach rocks. I always had a rock collection growing up. I still just really like rocks. And yeah, I painted rocks. All right. And then a few kind of random ones here. I'm going to put this one in, probably in a collection. And then the piece that I did for my collab with Mira. And some churros. All right. And let me move on to the larger sizes. Wait 1 second. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. This red onion. This was one of the first pieces that I did that was like super realistic, and I didn't really intend for it to be as realistic as it ended up being. But it has remained a favorite of mine because of that. I feel like there was a little bit of a turning point, especially in like these kind of reflected highlights on the side of the subject. That was a new thing for me. Pumpkin. These few were inspired by Sweet Bake Shop. I don't know if you've seen that on Instagram, but she's a really big Instagram account, a bakery in Vancouver, I believe. And then this is the last Sweet Bake Shop piece. And they'll all be in a collection together with actually one or two other things. This is, I was and still am actually super interested in like the more scientific looking illustrations. So this was some plums that I did, golden plums that were based on that. Another much older piece. This is one of those folding rulers. All right, this is another one that, I don't know, depending on how long you followed me, you might be shocked to see that I've painted this, but back in the very early days, I was like, you know, really experimenting and doing lots of different objects as well as doing food. So I painted a Tamagotchi. Some figs. I think this is like 2017 or 2018. This was a photo I think my sister sent me because she worked at a bakery at one point, and they had like baked these little tarts and had all this burnt melted sugar around them, and I just thought that looked so cool. These were some illustrations done for Eater about like French, I think it was French Mexican fusion in terms of pastry. So like Mexican pastries that were influenced by French cuisine. And then this was the like main feature illustration. So it had the flan, and I don't remember what these other ones were called. I know this is some kind of a bread pudding. Yeah, I don't remember what they were called, but then these were the close-ups, the spots that were a little bit more detailed. So those will go together in a collection as well. Oh, peach. White peach. Beignets. This was also for Draw My Food. Panel raisin. This is the piece that I did in my pastry Skillshare class. I think this might be the newest piece that's in the sale. Coffee and a donut. I remember this piece was significant for me because I actually did the reflection. I included the reflection of the donut. And I really loved, at the time, and I still do love, how the bubbles in the coffee came out. Fennel bulb. Gingerbread muffin. I think this was Draw My Food as well. I don't remember for sure. Some blueberry ice cream from an ice cream shop that we used to go to up in Acadia. This is another one that a lot of people may not have seen. This was, I think, the first time I did. I'm trying to remember what year this was. Whether it was 2015, maybe? Like, it was the first time I tried to do a really realistic portrait with colored pencil. And I definitely used a reference photo for this, and obviously got like super textural. I think the other significant thing about this piece was this was when I started blending with Gamsol. And you can kind of tell like this area here, the like kind of velvety matte blackness there, that was all blended with Gamsol. This has a ton of layers on it. It is like packed full. Yeah, this is another one where I really was torn about whether I should sell it or not, whether anybody will even want it. But again, would rather have it in someone's house. A mango. This was the a piece that I was trying to depict the growth stages of a pomegranate. So had the like flower, the small fruit, the large fruit, and then what the cross section looked like. sweet peas or snap peas, I guess. Again, like super textural here. Yeah, I need to bring that texture back into my life. Tarts, mini tarts. This guy's my favorite. Chocolate mousse cake. I at one point I think this is maybe the second or third piece we've seen that has this color for a background, and I was just like super into that color and liked putting it next to the things I was painting. And in this one, I tried to like bring, actually, I don't know if it's going to come across in the camera here, but I tried to bring some of that color into the cast highlight back there, the reflected highlight rather. This was another one for Draw My Food. Some rainbow carrots. This one, I don't know if anybody will want this, but this is a painting of what my view was when I was a barista and like how it would look when I was looking out over the espresso machine, making coffee with the syrups, kind of looking out into the store. I think this is maybe the only time I've done an interior painting, like a full interior painting. It is colored pencil, but it's a lot of gouache actually. And obviously very different color palette for me. This is a kind of dessert called a posset, or the bakery that made it called it a posset. Chocolate posset. Lemon, my first lemon. It's my very first popsicle painting as well. This is 2013, I believe. This one was featured by Apartment Therapy, and it was like one of the first times a big blog featured any of my work. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I've made it, I've arrived. Of course, I still had a lot of work left to do, a long way to go, but this was a significant piece for that reason. Some King Arthur flower. This is again in those kind of early phases when I was experimenting a lot with what I was painting and the style I was using. This is a little Duplo Girl. I painted this. So all of these objects that I used to paint, I would try to have some sort of sentimental story or meaning behind them. And this one I painted because when I was a little kid, I was at the Children's Museum and I found one of these on the floor, and I thought that meant that I could take it. And then my parents thought I had stolen it, and like they made me march back there and apologize. And it was just like awful. So I don't know, I guess I decided I wanted to make a painting about it, but I actually do kind of like the painting. I like the texture there. Having a lot of texture on something that is inherently not textural is kind of interesting to me. These were some pieces that were done for packaging. Another packaging piece. Oh, and another packaging piece. This is grapefruit and elderflower. And one more packaging piece. Lime and ginger. This is another pretty old piece. This is little succulent blossoms that I had done. This was like, I would say, exactly what I was aiming for at the time in terms of color palette. Like I wanted everything super light, super airy, really low contrast. Even the dark shadows in here have hardly, they're really not that much darker than the highlights. And I still do actually really like how it looks, but I definitely use a lot more shadow now. These are some of my rolling pin collection. I still remember with this piece, actually. This was one of the first pieces I used my scanner on, and I did not yet know how to scan things into pieces and weave them together. So the scan of this like bumps up against both of these ends of the rolling pin, and it's like slightly cropped, and it looks so terrible. And that's probably why I've never had it shared anywhere online. If you're struggling with that, by the way, I have a video about it. How to scan things in batches. This is like I think I call this deconstructed s'more. Another croissant. Some cheese varieties. All right, get ready for another very different one. This, I was just messing around with gouache, and I think I started the very first base layer was gouache, and then I did some like colored pencil texture on the moon and the water and the ground here. I have always wanted to go to a lantern release. I guess that's what they're called. But one of those things, you've probably seen pictures of them where like thousands of people are letting lanterns go up into the sky. It just looks so beautiful to me, and I would love to go to one someday. Trio of pies. All right, get ready for the biggest face I have ever painted. This was another fairly early one, I think maybe 2015. The only time I've painted a cat so far. If you have been on this channel for a while, you know we used to have a cat. Had her before Penelope, and then my dad was going to watch Penny after she was born. My dad is super allergic to cats, so he had a hard time being in the house for very long, and the cat also was not very good with babies, unfortunately. So we, a very good family friend, had just lost her cat, and so she ended up adopting our cat, and now this kitty lives her best life ever because she has like 3 different kitty condos and her own stocking, and yeah, so I still love her so much. All right. I like dogs too, but I'm definitely a cat person. Buttons. This was another older piece. This is probably 2013 as well. My grandmother had a button collection, and so I have a small button collection, and I drew some pieces from that. The hammer. I was for a while using quite a lot of micron pens in my work, and you can see here I've got some like kind of cross-hatching shading with the micron. Did a lot of experimenting back in those days. This is another one that is super, super light and kind of airy feeling, especially compared to like what the subject actually looks like in real life. I still love this piece. Rice stick. We lived in a neighborhood that had a lot of Vietnamese grocery stores, and I loved going around and getting different ingredients that I hadn't tried before, and this was one of the ones I did at the time, and we ended up using them a lot. That was back, well, when was that? Probably 2013 and 2014. This is around the same time. It's my first Pop-Tart piece. And some bars of soap. And a giant amethyst crystal. Getting close to the end here, you guys. And this was I think my first ice cream painting, actually. This was, if you are from the West Coast, or maybe it's just California, but there's a grocery store. It's like a grocery store / CVS. Yeah, it's called Thrifties, and they had ice cream, and their ice cream scoops were like kind of cylinders. I don't know. They weren't like a round scoop. They came out as a cylinder, and it was always my fantasy as a child to be able to get a triple scoop, and I just imagined it would be this enormous, you know, like a foot tall or something like that. So I drew the triple scoop of my dreams, and again, like super, super light, super, super airy, and almost like this one to me has a look of being like a photograph that's overexposed, like the really, really light areas. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I actually really kind of like overexposed photos. All right. And then this is the last piece. Here we go. This is a funny one. I didn't plan this to be the last one, but here it is. This is a denim jumper. And I painted this because I was homeschooled when I grew up. All the way through growing up, actually, I was homeschooled. And it was like a joke, and a thing that homeschoolers would get teased for was that they wore like really baggy and jumpers and dresses and all that. And so I drew this. All right. Let me switch back to the tripod. All right, you guys, I'm genuinely concerned at this point that all this footage is going to be totally unusable because of the road work that's going on outside. It seems like there's a huge vacuum cleaner right outside my door, but yeah, I'm just going to hope for the best. Hope that you guys could hear all of that okay. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed, getting to look back through years of work, and yeah, that was an enjoyable experience for me too, just to be able to sift through and kind of yeah, think about each one of those pieces, especially as I get ready to hopefully say goodbye to them and send them to good homes. So yes, be sure if you do want to get notified the day before to have the early access, be sure you're subscribed to my newsletter. The link will be in the description box. And if you just want to go for the regular publishing date, the normal one, this will be live at 12 p.m. on October 5th, Monday, October 5th. So yeah, all of the first batch will be live on Monday, October 5th. And then each Monday after that, there will be another release of 20 more pieces. So, well, 10 pieces and then 10 collections. Yeah, that's it. Let me know, you guys know the usual, let me know your comments or questions or ideas or whatever, all in the comments. And you can also, send me, a question via email if you have one. Thank you for watching, what is, I'm sure, a very long video. And yes, what else? I am feeling kind of scattered. Yes. Thank you to Meg for editing. Thank you to my patrons for supporting. That's it. All right, you guys. I will talk to you soon. Oh my goodness. Done. We're done. I will see you next week. I hope everybody has a good weekend. All right. Bye, you guys.